Hello, everybody. I'm so glad to be here once again. Carolyn has very graciously let me have these 3 weeks for the seminar that I'm so excited to share with you. This is the second of three in a series. Was anyone not here for the first one? You were not here. Okay, great. Then I will start from the beginning. For anybody who was here last week, the very beginning and the very end of the webinar will be the same. It'll be the same 3 slides at the beginning and the same resource slides at the end. However, if you stay until the very end, I have, oh, perfect. Carolyn put a link to last week's presentation in the chat. Thank you, Carolyn. So go ahead and click that to open it for later. And you can still view that. Tons of really, really awesome information about the outdoors and your the outside of your house, gardening, etc. If you're interested in all about accessibility outside of your home, still about your home, that's a great webinar to view. But this one will be all about kitchens and bathrooms. So if you don't leave at the end, if you were here last week, because I have tons of real life examples of a lot of the stuff we're going to be talking about in the PowerPoint today, in our presentation today, for you to view and for you to watch me physically use, so you can get a better idea of what it'll look like in the wild, in your home. Okay, so I'm going to start our presentation now. Okay. So welcome everybody. This is Aging in Place Kitchens and Bathrooms. My name is Mara Lane and I'm here from Maximum Accessible Housing of Ohio. I'm going to go a little bit quicker through this part of the presentation. But again, if I'm going too quickly, just go ahead and let me know. Maximum Accessible Housing of Ohio, lovingly shortened to MAHO, is a organization that focuses on accessibility, independence, and inclusions in homes and communities. And we do that through 2 programs. The first is our Vistas apartment communities, which is for people with mobility disabilities who are low income. That is a HUD subsidized apartment program. So we have 5 properties across 5 counties, and we've been doing that for about 40 years. So we are in no way new or unfamiliar with this territory. And in the last decade, we have, so about 10 years now, we have taken all of that information that we've learned running those completely accessible apartment buildings and created the Anderson Center for Accessible Living, which is our education program. And that is how we're here collaborating with community partnerships on aging today. So let's talk about some accessibility concepts really quickly. So what is visitability? Well, visitability is, it means that homes can be visited by anybody, including people with disabilities or even your grandchild who uses a stroller. It's accessible, no step entry on an accessible route. So from your car, the garage, the driveway, all the way into the house, super accessible. Accessible travel path throughout the main level, that you'll see what an accessible travel path looks like. And a usable half or full bathroom on the main level. So a bathroom that is wide enough for somebody with a walker, a wheelchair, a stroller to get through without having to go up or down any sort of steps. And there's a 93% chance that you'll come across somebody who needs visitability, because number 1, we've all been babies, but number 2, goodness willing, we will all age into disability or needing accessibility, right? If we get to age, it's a privilege. Universal design, there's a 60% chance of need. So universal design is a concept that encapsulates a product or environment that is usable by all people to the greatest extent possible. So great examples of things that can be used by anybody are automatic door openers. A smartphone is another example of a universally designed thing. It's meant to be used by all ages. You see little kids with iPads, You see older adults with cell phones, and then there's apps for everybody in between, and anybody who can use the phone can use the phone. There's no limitations. And it has a ton of other really, really wonderful tenets. There's 7 different levels that go into universal design, and we have a whole other universal design course that's all another course that we teach all the time. So if you're ever interested in that, you can contact me. But universal design is really cool. And another thing I'll say about it is that if you're ever looking for a product and you can't find something when you're typing in handicap accessible or accessible, look up universal design, and 9 times out of 10 you'll find exactly what you're looking for. So like universally designed potato peeler, OXO has a great one, costs $5 at Target. Full accessibility, there's a 25% chance that somebody will need full accessibility in your home, whether that is for a permanent or a temporary disability, like right after a knee surgery, or if somebody, you know, took a fall and they hurt their hip, or if you are transitioning to using a wheelchair every day, again, or if you have a child who isn't walking yet, you need greater sense of full accessibility. And that's, again, that will be totally designed for a person with disabilities in mind. And it usually assumes that the person is using a wheelchair, but the majority of features will benefit every single person in the home. There's no universal rules for full accessibility. It's totally tailored to the person's needs or the family or household's needs. And that's what's really cool about accessibility and about aging in place, is that it's all about what you need, and you don't need to worry about what anybody else thinks or what they need. As long as it works for your household, it doesn't matter. So let's get to it then. What is aging in place? 95% of seniors in Cleveland want to age in their own homes. And aging in your own home doesn't have to mean the house that you bought with your husband 45 years ago. It doesn't have to mean the house you're living in right now. It can mean an apartment that you downsize to or right size to. You might hear right sizing these days. People are trying to like kind of correct the stigma around aging in place, because it's really not just for, you know, older people. It's for anybody who wants to keep their house as long as they're with us living people. So we can talk about so many things about aging in place. What it really, really means is being able to age where you want to, not in an institution. So you can age in place in your daughter's home. You can age in place with your neighbor you're growing older next to, and you both decide to move in together. It's whatever works for you. And it will be an ongoing process until the day that you can no longer live on your own or don't want to live on your own anymore. So what we're going to keep in mind during this presentation is it's all about eliminating barriers. We want to make sure that we are always keeping open space. We love open space so much. We're providing adequate space. So we might, you know, pull up a rug off the floor so we don't trip over it, but we're going to make sure that that room will stay usable, stay super easy to get through, and it's part of our house. We're going to seek simple solutions. So maybe it doesn't mean doing a full kitchen renovation. Maybe it just means replacing or taking out the island you don't use usually so that you can have a more open floor plan. It's based on design user needs. So again, it's what you want. You don't need to worry about anybody else. Consider frequency of use and importance. So again, if you never use that island in your kitchen, you don't have to keep using it. You can just get rid of it. It's yours. So let's get into it. Let's start talking about these features and just get to it. So let's talk about doorways. Kitchens and bathrooms are really similar in a lot of ways, but one way that they're not super similar is that kitchens usually don't have doors and bathrooms almost always do. So we are going to talk about doorways, but just keep in mind the bathroom for this particular feature. So we want to make sure that our doorways have at least 32 inches. Now, I do a lot of home assessments, and almost none of the homes that I go into have a 32-inch doorway. If yours does, that's amazing. Usually they're anywhere from 27 to 31. If 31 works for you, that's totally fine. Don't worry about having to change all the doors in your home if that's not something that's reasonable for you right now. But if you are looking to move into a wheelchair to get around your house better, 36 inches will be your best friend to get through that door. 42 would be even better. If we do have a door, we want to make sure that that door can include swing clear hinges and that the door doesn't swing into the room. So a reason why that is bathrooms and kitchens are the two of the biggest places that people have falls. One of the reasons people fall is because of inadequate space. And if they do fall, they're more likely to injure themselves hitting something on the way down. We'll talk a little bit more about that in layout, but if you were to fall, having a door that swings out of your bathroom rather than swings into your bathroom is going to be your best friend. Because if they have to take the door off the hinges, it's not going to fall on top of you. It will fall away from you, right? So we want to make sure that our bathroom doors don't swing into the bathroom, and that'll just give us that a little bit of extra space in the bathroom as well. We can use that space behind the door to get through too. So what is a swing clear hinge? I will show you. I have a real life example of a swing clear hinge here for right when we're done with the presentation. I'll go through all of that super quickly. But a swing clear hinge is a type of hinge that you can put on an existing door in your home to give you the full width of the door. So you can see on this hinge right here, it gives you that whole extra inch because it swings away from the door frame. It gives you the entire width of the door frame to get through. These hinges are kind of expensive if you get the residential models. However, if you get the commercial models of the swing clear hinges, they're $6 a piece. $6. And you don't need to worry about getting a new door, renovating your doorways. $6. Can't be beat. And if you are looking to do a much bigger renovation, there are some alternatives, and also not renovation alternatives you can look for too. So first thing we can talk about is a pocket door. This would involve having to have the adequate space behind, having to have adequate space behind your wall that the door would have to slide into. It involves using a contractor. It involves making sure that you have proper construction behind there, proper elements to make sure it goes in. There's a problem with pocket doors, which is that a lot of times it only has this little teeny tab handle, or you have to use your fingers kind of pry the door back out or push it back in. But one thing that is really nice about it is once it's away, it's totally out of the way and you can use all of that door frame space again. Those are a little bit expensive. You can get a pocket door kit. I would recommend you get it professionally installed, but it is available. And those run anywhere from $150 to $350. So still not crazy expensive, but the installation might run you some money. Next, we have a curtain. This is a bathroom behind here. There's a bathroom behind that curtain, and there is nothing wrong with that for that family. This particular family decided that they wanted to make sure they always had access to that powder room, regardless of who had to go in it. And the person with a disability in this apartment didn't have the strength to open any sort of door. So for them, a curtain made sense. And because it's their home and they don't need to worry about who's going in and out of the bathroom, a curtain is totally fine. Curtains are also really good alternatives for closets. Really recommend a curtain rather than a closet door, especially if you're somebody who tends to like shove everything in your closet until it falls out or it's leaning against the door. Don't do that. Put up a curtain. You'll be forced to stay more organized in your closet. Also, we have barn doors. Barn doors are a more expensive option to curtains, obviously, and pocket doors. You can get a barn door kit from your local hardware store or Lowe's, Home Depot for about $300. They can be really heavy to maneuver. I mean, it is just like a plank of wood, and you have to make sure that you maintain this track. If it collects dust and stuff like that, it can come off the track. You have to make sure it is well oiled, and they're also not very good at keeping in any sort of sound or AC or heating. So it is a really good option if you want to stay trendy, make your house look really pretty, because they're very in right now. But they're a little bit more expensive. So let's talk about layout. When we are talking about bathrooms, we always want to make sure, both in bathrooms and kitchens, that we have at least a 5-foot turning radius. So from this wall, not including this handrail, to this countertop, this is about 5 feet of turning space, right? So if I'm in a wheelchair, I can turn fully around and without hitting anything with my feet, with my elbows, I can make sure that I can turn fully around. Nobody has to wheel me backwards out of the bathroom. And we have a great example of a door opening out. It doesn't look as weird as you would picture it, does it? 5 feet minimum, but 6 feet is better. I know a lot of us live in older homes, apartments, with a lot less bathroom space, especially if we have a tub or maybe a toilet that's in an odd place. But just making sure that you keep anything like towels, some people have like toilet paper holders, storage bins, anything like that off of the floor. Find a way to store it on the walls. Really make use of that wall space where you're not going to hit your feet on it, trip over it, hit it if you fall down, etc. If we're going to have a pathway, so in between this oven and this countertop, there is actually, I think here there's 42 inches of space. I remember about this house, but at least 36 is best. So if you are somebody who likes a kitchen island, making sure that there's at least 36 inches between your mounted counters and your appliances, and that island space is what's going to keep you safe in the kitchen. Now there's something wrong with this floor. I don't know if you can see what it is, but it is a tiny little rug. We want to make sure that any tiny little rugs we have in our kitchen, especially if we have a standing mat or a bath mat, that they are completely secured. So all the way to the edge for those rugs, but I'll talk about that again soon. And then there's always the option of just having an open kitchen unit. This is actually our demonstration unit that we are currently renovating. And the demonstration unit is completely open. We originally had a peninsula coming out here, but when we were doing our renovations, we saw the open space and just completely fell in love with it. And now our kitchen is just this L shape, and it's worked better for us than any other combination of counters. And we've moved these around a ton. We spent months going over the options we had for here, and having just this L-shaped kitchen worked the best for us. And even after 40 years, clearly, we're still learning. And just making sure that that space is clear. So if you have a laundry basket, that counts as taking up floor space. If you have, again, like a rug or an island, those take up floor space. Even if you kind of block them out mentally, they're still there. So making sure that they're super clear. Let's talk about flooring. So we want our transitions from flooring to be, hold on. Let's see. Sorry. Let's see if the subtitles will pick me up. There we go. Okay, great. Just wanted to make sure that we don't skip those subtitles. So our transitions for flooring, we want to make sure that they are no more than 1/4 inch. So what that means, a lot of us have these transition strips in our home. If we were going from hardwood to tile, we want to make sure that if we have them, that they're not loose, that they are completely secured to the floor, and that this one, you have the option, knowing that you have the option to have no transition strip. If you have a difference in height, like this carpet and this tile does, having a rubber transition strip put down with carpenter's glue will be your best friend, rather than having to constantly screw in those metal ones, or even worse, plastic ones to the floor that can pop up and you could trip over them, get your socks caught on them or slippers. These rubber ones are really fairly cheap, and they work a lot better. We've had these glued down for 7 years and they've never budged. We've never had a single problem with them, and they get a ton of traction in our office. Here again, they have no transition. You can tell by the carpet that this is a really well-worn area of the house. It's going from a living room to a kitchen area. And somebody wheels their wheelchair through it. You can even like see the wheelchair marks here. Again, never had the carpet pull up. They've never had an issue with it. Again, that carpet is just glued down to the subfloor directly, and so there's no padding in between. The padding is what really makes that elevated difference, and you can make sure that you have that space. Any hard floors that we do have, we want to make sure that they are slip resistant and smooth. So this is a nicely grained wood, but you can also have tile. So again, completely flat, no transition strip. Subfloor is the same thickness throughout. They chose a tile that was the same thickness as this hardwood planking. And small tiles will always be more slip resistant than large tiles. The reason being is that these spaces for the grout actually provide a little bit of traction. It's why they get a little bit dirtier faster. You have to mop more often if you have smaller tiles. But that slip resistance might really save you a lot in medical bills if you, so to me, the extra mopping can be worth the avoiding going to the hospital. Tile, laminate, and vinyl are all really, really good options. And they're a little bit more cost effective, obviously, than hardwood, especially right now with wood prices the way they are. Laminate can be your best friend, and they're making a lot of really, really cool laminate flooring and vinyl flooring that looks just like hardwood. Especially, they also make, if you're looking for more of a bathroom tile and less of a like living room or kitchen tile, looking at ceramic tile that is purposefully made and grained to look like wood has that extra traction on the tile itself and is really cool and is super affordable because it's very trendy right now. We also want to make sure any flooring that we have is in contrast of color to any sort of countertops or appliances that we might have. And the reason for that being is as we get older, our eyesight gets worse. Even if we add in a ton of lighting, you can see there's a ton of lighting in this kitchen, even though they don't have like the best lighting coming in from outside. But even so, these floors still get really dark in these corner places. No matter how well you light them, there's always going to be darker areas. So having a contrasted lighting or having a contrasted floor color to those cabinets will be your best friend. And if I go back, you can, oops, sorry, everybody. Let's see if I can get to it. There we go. You can see we actually chose this extremely dark flooring because this was one of the only contrasting colors that we could get to this orangey kind of cabinetry color, that kind of shaker stain, shaker colored wood stain. It's a little bit hard to find, but you will find it. Okay, and rugs. So rugs. We all love rugs. My house is covered in them, but I do trip over them all the time. And luckily I'm young, and if I take a fall, I take it pretty easily, but a lot of people won't have that luxury. So having non-slip coating all the way to the very edge of your rug. So even this one where you can see that little green strip beyond the white, that's enough to pitch your toe on. So making sure that if you have rugs like this one, that you are sweeping underneath it to make sure there's no crumbs or any dust that can get under there, which will cause the rug to slip around a little bit more. A dirty floor is a slippery floor, and that's the truth. The dirtier your floor is, the more slippery it is. Having the, if you're gonna have this, having some extra backing, you can buy rolls of rug backing from any furniture store, even Amazon. You can buy it for like 10 bucks. Cutting little squares of it out to put under a rug like this will help keep those corners from peeling up. Let's talk about handles. I am super excited about this slide. You guys let me know if this slide doesn't make sense to you, because it's something I'm trying a little bit new, and I want to make sure if it translates. I want to make sure it translates well. Okay, so handles. Our doors should have lever handles. That's just a given at this point. They're not super aesthetically pleasing, or they haven't been in the past. A lot of people will complain that they make them kind of look medical or make them look a little bit, you know, hospital-like. But this is an older style lever handle, but they make super residential looking ones. You can buy lever handles now super, super inexpensively, much more inexpensively than you could buy them 10 years ago. And they make them in tons of styles. So we want lever handles on pretty much everything. except for one exception, and I'll tell you what that is. So we've got indoor, outdoor handles. We want them on our faucets. We even want them on our toilets. Here is a great example of a lever handle on a faucet. What's also great about this faucet is it has a super long neck. So even if you couldn't reach back here, you could press the button that is on the underside of this one. This one happens to have a touch option that you could touch the neck of the faucet and turn it on. This is a really, really cool faucet that includes built-in sensors. So this one, if you have somebody maybe who has a neurodegenerative disease or disability, so Alzheimer's, something like that, and you're worried about them forgetting which side of the sink is hot or cold, or if you notice that they are losing feeling in their hands, maybe when it's really, really hot or really, really cold outside and we come inside and we want to run our hands under hot water, people worry that they're going to burn themselves by accident or scald themselves by accident because they can't feel the temperature of the water. Something that's really cool about a sink like this is when you're using it, this sensor down here, not only does it have the left and right, hot and cold with our colors, our universal language, our universal design faucet, it also turns red or blue or purple if it's kind of lukewarm. Lever handles are also super easy to clean. One Clorox wipe, one rag with some Windex or some Clorox on it, and you just swipe it on there, super easy to clean. This is a really cool option if you are unable to reach the back of your sink. You don't have to have that lever handle directly next to the sink, especially if it comes as separate hardware. You can put that lever handle anywhere you want. If you wanted to put it way over here because that's as far as you can reach to the sink, that's totally fine. This is a super old solution that people have been doing for years and years and years. It's a lot less common now, but it's one of my favorites. I think it's really creative. And let's get to our one exception to lever handles, D-shaped handles. So D-shaped handles are called that because they look like the letter D when mounted on a cabinet or a drawer, and almost any cabinet or drawer that you're going to see in this presentation will have a D-shaped handle. And there's a reason for that. Number one, they're super easy to clean. Number two, there's tons of really stylish options. But something we really like about D-shaped handles is you don't have to open your hand to use them. So if you have a closed fist or if you have arthritis, it's hard to grab things. Slipping a finger in there or just grabbing maybe the edge of one of these D-shaped handles with that closed fist and pulling towards you, super easy to use. Some people don't like them with this little edge bit here that we like in our demonstration unit, but because they can get caught on clothing, get caught on sweaters, stuff like that, pull on your clothing. But there's always this option too that completely mounts to the cabinet or drawer. Let's talk about cabinetry. Am I going too fast? Does anybody need me to slow down? Good, we're good. Okay. Am I dragging on too long? Maybe a little. No. Okay. Great. Okay. Let's talk about cabinetry and drawers. So upper cabinetry, we want to make sure that our upper cabinetry isn't too high. This is a really, really simple solution. If you are somebody who doesn't want to do a full kitchen renovation, but wants to make sure that your kitchen does get refreshed and works better for you, having your existing cabinets uninstalled and then reinstalled at a more proper height can help give your kitchen that newly renovated look without actually having to do a huge renovation or purchase new materials. We want to make sure that they're about a foot or a little bit more than a foot off of our kitchen counter, just to make sure that we have space for most appliances. I think the appliance we judge this against is one of the biggest, which is a KitchenAid stand mixer. Does anybody have one of those? I love my KitchenAid stand mixer. I make challah in it every single week because I hate kneading my own dough. And I invested in it. I love it. And I would not move into an apartment where it didn't fit on the counter. So for me, having that 15 inches above the countertop is super important. For other people, they might only have a toaster and not care. Toasters are about like 8 inches, 8 to 10 inches tall. So you don't need as much space. Upper cabinetry is also a really good place to install lighting beneath. If you don't have the electricity to run or the space to plug in lighting here, you can buy some cheap tap-on lights. I have an example of one I can show you later, but I have examples of them here in my little props box. It's actually our mobile demonstration unit that we bring with us to presentations usually. But they're super cheap. You can buy them for like a 3-pack on Amazon, and they are battery operated. So it's just a simple tap on and then instant task lighting underneath your upper cabinetry. If your upper cabinetry is super tall and you're not able to reinstall it, a pull down drawer might be a better option for you. This one in particular is really expensive. We've been waiting and waiting for the price to go down, but it just hasn't yet. It's by a company called Shelf, and I think it can run about $200 for this one option. Yeah, so if you are looking for a cheap option, the Shelf is probably not for you, but there are tons of other options to bring what you're using closer to you without having to get up on a footstool or a ladder to reach things that you regularly use. We really want to make sure, again, this is all about ease of use and saving space. So if you are looking into a pantry, something we really recommend to people is buying a cheap IKEA pantry and installing some pull-out doors, especially if you have if you already have a built-in pantry, making sure that anything that's at the way back, you know, that like can of mushroom soup that you never use, that's always in the back there. If you're suddenly inspired to make like a casserole with it, you're not reaching over 1,000 other things, you can grab it and go. Here's another really good example of, whereas these are, you can buy them super cheap from IKEA. They're maybe 10 bucks a piece. This is a prefab option that you can get installed right next to your oven so that you don't have to go searching around for those spices or that cooking sheet. We also want to make sure any kind of drawers that we have are soft close. That's not just for you, that's also for anybody who's visiting your home. We don't want people getting injured, especially if they just forget their fingers are in the way of the drawer. Open shelving is a really, really trendy, but also super classic, super traditional trend that is coming back right now, having a little bit of a resurgence. Excuse me. Make sure I don't get dehydrated. I love open shelving. This one is a little bit too high off the ground or off the counter for my taste. Again, it should be mounted at that 12 to 15 inches, but a really sturdy shelf can be super, super cheap. You can keep all of your most used, most loved items right at your arm's reach, especially things that you're using over and over again that won't get dusty or dirty from sitting on that shelf. They're super easy to clean. You don't have to worry about taking doors off or having to even fumble with doors at all. You can just grab and go. I actually have open shelving in my own house and I love it. It's where I keep all of my regular use every single day dishes and glasses. And I can't tell you how easy it is to make coffee when I have my mugs just sitting all in a row on my open shelf right there above the coffee maker. Shelving from IKEA counts as open shelving. So if you are stuck with a bunch of cabinets, you don't know what to do with, but you have a little breakfast nook that you know you can stick this $65 steel rack from IKEA that's adjustable in height. Again, I actually have one of these in my apartment that I use as my quote unquote pantry. It looks totally fine. No one's ever commented on it being ugly or unsightly. And it's a really great way to store things that are super heavy, things that we use all the time that we don't have to go digging around for. If you use your crock pot all the time but don't have room for it on your counter, it's a good idea to keep it somewhere outside of a cabinet so you don't have to lean down and grab it. And if we do have lower cabinets, if we are going with our open shelving concept, we want to have those lower cabinets for our appliances and for tradition's sake, making sure that we have a higher toe kick. So not only is that for people who have a foot plate for their wheelchair that they can turn around and not scratch up all of your countertops, or a stroller for those foot plates on those strollers or footrests on the strollers. It's also for if we decide to pull up a chair or a stool, we're not kicking our counters and kicking the sink basin. This sink is actually a roll under sink, and we're going to talk about those in just 1 second. But roll under sinks don't have to have this privacy panel. They don't have to have it. So if you're not sold on a kitchen sink because you think privacy panels are kind of weird and awkward looking, you do not have to have a privacy panel. So let's talk about countertops and workspaces. Counters are where we get literally everything done, both in the kitchen and the bathroom. We want to make sure that whether it's in the kitchen or our bathroom vanity, that they are no more than 24 inches deep. 2 feet is more than enough space for both counter storage and also counter usage. Think about a foot of use for space and a foot of use for storage. And that way anybody can reach all the way back to them. We also want to make sure that they are no more than 34 inches high. What's actually really funny about this first picture I have here is that this countertop in the way back here is actually 36 inches high, 36. And the reason for that being is in this house, there's a woman who uses a wheelchair and her husband is like 6'5". And so rather than have everything be at one level where he was uncomfortable and she was uncomfortable, they decided to just have varying countertop heights. So this stovetop here is, I believe, 24 inches high, so really, really low. And his preferred countertop, where he has his own stove over here in the back because he also loves to cook, they both do, is all the way at 36. Varied is great. We can have multiple different countertop heights, and that's becoming more and more normal. I'll show you a bunch of different options. So here again is one of our apartment units, brand new, super clean. It has this peninsula that I talked about earlier. Again, varied. We have this one at 28 inches. This one is up at 34 inches, so you can see that difference. We want to make sure anything that we have our countertops on are super durable and are contrasting color. So these are just laminate countertops. They lasted us for, I believe, 13 years. Super easy to clean, hard to find a stain on it because the laminate was just super easy to clean off. So we never stained these countertops, and that was really, really great. And they're also, again, a contrasting color. So your floor should be a different color than your cabinets, which would be a different color than your countertops. The reason for that being, again, eyesight, it's always varying, it's always changing. We never know when it's going to have a dramatic change, so better to be prepared and have tons of lighting, which will help show off that contrasting color. Here's another good example, contrasting color, light wood floors, dark wood, stained cabinetry, and then a green marble countertop. This one, again, super great. This is a super young family that just decided they wanted to stay in their home forever. They were in their early 40s when they built this house together, and we're like, we are never leaving. No one can drag us out of here. They'll drag us when we're dead. We're not leaving. So they were just planning for accessibility, both completely able-bodied, but wanted to make sure they could stay forever. So again, they have the varied countertop height, which I think is super cute here. If you have a grandchild who, you know, you want to bake cookies with, they can pull up a chair or stand right here with you. And if you are working on something like scrapbooking, or if you're working on a super complicated recipe or wanted to write a note while you're on the phone, pulling up a chair here, super easy. Again, we want to make sure that our countertops are rounded. If we are going to be replacing them, rounded countertops will just have the extra safety. If you do have grandchildren or children running around your home, or even somebody shorter of stature, you want to make sure that if they hit their head, they're not going to be bleeding all over the floor. And if somebody were to fall in your home, they wouldn't get scraped by that side kitchen or side of a counter. I actually have a scar from childhood from running into a counter. So I'd really recommend those rounded edges. We want to make sure that if we do have our sink spaces, that they are roll under spaces. So we don't need vanities to hide toilet paper and cleaning supplies. Everybody knows that everybody has toilet paper. Everybody knows that everybody needs to clean their bathrooms. I hope you're cleaning your bathrooms, especially now during COVID. So we don't need to hide them, and not hiding them and not having a vanity, having a wall mounted sink will make it so that if you do want to sit down to put on your makeup one day or sit down to brush your teeth, you are able to do that. Just when we do have that roll under space, we want to make sure that it's at least 30 inches wide, 30 inches, and at least 11 inches deep. So that's just about the width of a chair. A regular chair is usually anywhere from like 25 to 32 inches wide. And your knee space where it's comfortable to pull all the way up to the counter, not have to like lean over, hunch over to get to that sink. We want to make sure that that's at least 11 inches deep, and your knee isn't hitting any sort of piping. If we are going to have the piping exposed, we want to make sure that it is completely insulated. So if you see this one, I actually don't love this because while I'm sure this is heat safe metal, to me that just looks like a scald waiting to happen. This one is super great. They had their piping go immediately back to the wall rather than going all the way down. It's whatever you choose. This one's also really cool because they chose to hide the empty underneath the sink. So again, rather than having a standard vanity, these doors can actually be pulled back out and then closed like a regular cabinet. You'd never know there was space underneath. And then this is a really good example of how far back your sink should be. You never want your sink basin to be more, whether it's in the kitchen or the bathroom, more than 5 to 7 inches away from the edge of your countertop. So you should be able to reach the entire back of the sink from a sitting position. So if you want to test that to yourself, just pull up a chair alongside your sink and just like reach in, see if you can touch the very back. You should be fine if you can. Let's talk about controls and appliances. Okay. Once again, why isn't sometimes we just want there we go. Okay. We just want the captioning to work so everybody can participate and hear what I'm saying. Okay. So if we do have a bunch of lighting, which we want tons of lighting everywhere so we can see all the time, we want to make sure that the switches that we have are easy to use for us. So if you are beyond or sick of using those little toggle switches, I know I have a really bad habit of hitting them with my elbows when I'm going in and out of a space, which can actually break your paddle switches over time. It's not a good habit to have. And it's also, if you do it by accident, suddenly you're in the dark, and that's no good. But paddle switches are really, really great option for anybody who wants something that's super easy to clean. Again, now during COVID, we want to make sure that all the surfaces in our house that we touch regularly are clean. Paddle switches are super easy. No need to worry about hitting that toggle switch with your elbow. If you hit this one with your elbow, it's not going anywhere. It's not going to break. They're also really, really, really inexpensive. If you have a light on a dimmer or if you have a light on a dimmer or you want to increase intensity without using a toggle switch, without using a paddle switch, these two options, which one is this rotator switch, which is kind of an older style. I remember growing up with some of those. And then this one, which is a little bit of a modified paddle switch or a modified toggle switch, which you can slide up and down. Something else that I didn't put in this presentation, but I just want to point out is this person had limited counter space. And so they chose to use a magnifier strip for all of their knives rather than having a knife block. Again, this is actually something that I do in my own personal home, and I've had mine for about 4 years now, and I've never had a knife fall. And I have nice knives. I invest in my knives. So having a magnetic strip, we bolted ours in, but I know some people just use command strips. I wouldn't recommend that, but bolting in or command strips for temporary use is totally fine, especially if you want to see if it's a good placement for you. It doesn't just have to be knives. You can put any sort of metal cookware, like spoons, spatulas, etc. Some people even use these in their bathrooms. They're super, super inexpensive. I think we got ours for $10. Some people can get them for even cheaper on Amazon, like $5. People use them for their eyeglasses or their nail clippers in the bathroom as well. We want to make sure that our outlets are in an efficient and creative place for us. So this one is mounted directly below the upper cabinetry. It's just like lighting. This is a great place to put an outlet. If I'm standing up, I'm really tall, so I won't even be able to see this outlet. It's no skin off my nose. I can see it. Somebody sitting down, or somebody shorter of stature, somebody who is a child, will be able to see this outlet and will be able to use it and won't have to reach all the way back to the wall in order to use that outlet back there. We want to make sure that we mount all of our appliances in convenient places as well. So as I mentioned, this is a very small woman who uses a wheelchair in this house. So she put her stove, which is what she uses to cook most of her meals, in a really convenient place for her. Again, it doesn't matter where it's convenient for other people. She also put down this, despite the fact that his sink is over there, her sink is right behind this photo. And so she put her paper towels right there, right next to the cleaning. So it's in between for both of them. Super convenient. We want to make sure any appliances that we do have front controls. That way we're not reaching over burners to turn on the stove, turn off the burners, turn off the oven. This is a really great example of a lit back, what is that called? Back display. That's what the word is. This is a really good example of a backlit display. This would be great if you are cooking in a house with less lighting, or if your eyesight is getting a little bit worse. Having these controls that are in a contrasting color, these are black on silver, super easy to read, really legible, and really like comprehensive controls. It says exactly what it does on the control itself. And again, it's in the front. You don't need to worry about reaching over the stove in order to use it or see the display. We also want to make sure that if we are doing a plethora of different things in our kitchen, that at least some things have audible alerts, like a microwave. Microwaves are great options. So are convection ovens. So are toaster ovens. Again, if you're not looking to do a full remodel, but your space just isn't working for you anymore, there's literally an appliance for everything now. And adding in your kitchen as a workspace, your kitchen table as a workspace, and a something as simple as an air fryer, which is just a small convection oven that can sit on your countertop. If that works for you, then that works for you. It's all about what you need. Something bigger, I want to bring this one up specifically. I don't talk about a whole lot of other appliances. We could talk about, double stacked stoves, or stoves that are mounted on walls rather than mounted on your countertop. But something I really want to point out is the dishwasher. If you're lucky enough to have a dishwasher, I know a lot of older homes do not have them. Looking into replacing it with a drawer dishwasher, this one is by Fisher Paykel, or Packle. They are still about $700, which is expensive for a dishwasher these days. Your standard dishwasher, like this cabinet mounted one, is probably around $300 to $400. Your drawer dishwasher is going to be about $700. Fisher Paykel is a really, really trusted brand. We actually just purchased one for our demonstration unit. So if you are curious and want to use one before you purchase one, make a big purchase like that, feel free to come into our demonstration unit one day and check it out. But we find that the drawer is much easier to operate than the store, which always goes all the way down to the ground, and then you have to bend or kick it with your foot back up to you. And again, that's just not good for the appliance, and it's not good for your balance. Okay. Phew. Take a little bit of a breather. Sit back. We're gonna switch gears a little bit. We just did a ton of talking about the kitchen, just because there aren't a ton of appliances in the bathroom, but we're also going, but the same tenets that apply to the kitchen for task lighting, mounting that underneath cabinetry or underneath a mirror, and creative placement of outlets so that they work for you, that they are a much lower height. Those still apply in bathrooms. And I just want you to think about that a little bit more, think about what those similarities could be, but also the differences, because now we're going to switch gears, talk about grab bars, which we're primarily placing in a bathroom, but grab bars can go anywhere. Grab bars can go anywhere. You can have a grab bar in your bathroom. You can have one in your kitchen. You can have one in your living room. You can have a standing grab bar that you use that uses tension between your ceiling and your floor to help you stand up from the couch. You can have them anywhere. They do not have to be just mounted to the wall. They can also use tension. The only grab bars you are not allowed to have, and you can tell your husbands I said this, you can tell your children I said this, is suction cup grab bars. I will personally come and rip it off your wall before it falls off for you. I better not catch any of you guys using suction cup grab bars. They don't work. They hurt people. Get rid of them. Get a regular grab bar. They're great for one purpose only, and that is seeing where you might want to place one before you have it professionally installed. Like seeing how it looks on a wall, or seeing like if you would naturally grab it. But that's also something an OT or a PT, an occupational therapist or a physical therapist, can go through with you and help you decide as well. But I will personally come and take all of your suction cup grab bars. You're not allowed. But let's talk about grab bars in a fun way. Okay, so if we are going to mount them to our wall, we want to make sure that we are using them effectively and appropriately, and we are mounting them correctly. So if we are going to mount them, we want to make sure that we either have wood blocking behind our wall surface. So what that is usually 3/4 inch plywood. A contractor or a construction worker, whatever, will put that in for you. Put your wall tile or your drywall back up, and then mount that grab bar for you on the surface. But a lot of people don't want to do that, which is why a lot of people gravitate towards those really cost-effective and easy to put up grab bars that are made out of suction cups. But so if you don't want to do that, there is a product that was just created, and I have not personally used it, but I do know a lot of companies that do use it and swear by it. It is rated for over 400 pounds of force, and that is the Secure Mount Anchor by Moen. And that is really inexpensive. Grab bars, oh, bless her heart. This woman told us today that she was charged like $900 to put in 3 grab bars. Grab bars do not cost that much. Grab bars cost, this one right here, even though it's also a shower caddy, 20 bucks. Your regular grab bar, like this one, even this one that's a special shape, 40 bucks. Grab bars are not expensive. Secure mount anchors are not expensive. And drilling a hole into a wall to put them up on your bathroom, not expensive. And nobody should be charging you $900 to put up 3 grab bars. But grab bars are really cool because they can be put wherever you need them. They can have tons of different purposes. Like this one is a shower caddy. They can have tons of different colors and finishes. This one you can see has a super weird shape. It goes in with the indent of the shower, but you can find them for literally any shape, any price, and any color. This one is really cool because it has this U bend. These people decided they wanted one continuous grab bar. They also mount that sprayer, that shower head, onto one of these grab bars. So rather than having a shower head rail to hook that onto, they just hook it right onto the grab bar. This one is a pull down grab bar. So it doesn't just have to be used for the toilet. It can be used for the shower too, getting in and out of the shower. I love pull down grab bars as an option for next to your bed. I also love them for next to either side of the toilet. So if you don't want to have a toilet rail, something that sits on the floor and takes up floor space, having a pull down grab bar, again, super affordable. I think you can get these for about 30 bucks each. Secure mount anchors, you're done. Your out of pocket cost is maybe $100 for 2 grab bars in your bathroom right away. This one is really cool, again, because it doubles as a shower caddy. Another example of somebody using a grab bar in their preferred finish. super sleek, really cute bathroom color as a hook for their spraying shower head, which I always recommend that you have one, in addition to the one that, you know, sprays from above. And this one they use as a drying rack for their non-slip mat on the shower floor. I'm not a huge fan of the non-slip mats because they can slip up over time, but they're a great option if that's what you've got right now. Another option for a grab bar, and I think this is our last one for this slide, but this one is a toilet paper holder. They can be both. They can be both. I'm obsessed with this one. I love it. There are toilet paper holder grab bars that look just like toilet paper, but always make sure, or just like toilet paper holders, but just make sure that if that is what you go with, that you are 100% certain of where you place it. It can get a little weird using the toilet paper holder to stand up. What we always say is if it's not meant to hold over double your body weight, then it's not meant to hold your force pushing down on it. Does it make sense? So if you weigh 150 pounds, you want a grab bar that will is rated for 300 pounds. Just in case you fall and you pull on it, you want to make sure that you're safe. Okay, so we've talked about grab bars inside of showers, outside of showers. Let's talk about the showers themselves. You've heard this before. I am absolutely certain, just like you've heard me and people like me yelling at you about grab bars, I'm sure you have heard people yelling at you about having a roll-in or walk-in shower. There are tons of different shower options. It doesn't have to involve ripping out your entire existing bathroom. A lot of times it just means taking out the tub and resurfacing the floor that the tub was sitting on. You can save the tile work a lot of times, and they're becoming more and more affordable. They're whole roll-in shower kits. There's also the option of just not having a proper shower. This is what's called a wet bathroom, which is, it's just the bathroom floor. People always ask, like, what if you get water everywhere? What if the floor is wet? Well, this one has 2 drains, but it's not really something we've experienced unless you go crazy with the shower head. This curtain is more than capable of keeping the water inside. There's also an extremely slight pitch in the floor towards that drain, just like there would be in your shower. And also what's great about this is that it is covered in what is called boat deck paint. If you were here last week, you heard me talk about boat deck paint, like paint that would go on the surface of your boat deck. It is super inexpensive. It's literally just waterproof surfacing paint that you should recoat maybe once every couple of years, once a year. That goes on the surface of your bathroom or even your steps outside, your kitchen floor, etc. It has a ton of grip to it, and you don't need to worry about having, you can paint that also on your regular shower floor, the one that you have right now, or your bathtub floor, if you have a bathtub. And yeah, we do not have trouble with people spilling water. If you are extremely worried about this water, you have 2 options too. If you have a wet bathroom and you're choosing no shower, we're not doing it, I don't want any sort of barrier between me and getting clean, you have 2 options. You can do a heated floor. Heated floors are not only more comfortable for people who have circulatory problems, like Raynaud's or cold feet. You could also have a squeegee. In Europe, people squeegee their bathroom floors all the time because most bathrooms are like this one, where they're just open. This is just one more really great example. This is actually a wet bathroom, even though it looks really proper. They have just command strip hooks in here. They have a suction cup shower caddy, which I will allow as long as you promise not to hang on it. And they have a grab bar right here. This one's super easy. It's for an adult with a disability who is taken care of by his parents. And he actually showers sitting in a shower wheelchair. So they're able to just wheel it in there, clean him up with this spray shower head and get him out. Easy peasy. But even if they have guests, anybody can use this space. And if you do have a walk-in or roll-in shower and you're again worried about that water getting out, having a water control dam is super easy. This no more than an inch thick, half an inch is totally fine too. It'll keep all the water on the floor inside the shower. And really easy to walk over, wheel over. We haven't had problems with people tripping over these. If you do have a roll-in shower, just making sure that that roll-in shower from edge to edge is 36 by 36 inches. No smaller unless your space like really physically doesn't allow for it. But most bathtubs, if you have one already in there, is going to be about 36 inches long, if not longer. Making sure that you have seating. Seating is so important. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten tired or felt faint in the shower because the water was too hot or it was too steamy to feel like I needed to breathe. So having the option to sit in the chair, much safer, much more easy, especially if you are transferring from a wheelchair or using a walker. You are able to sit down. A lot of shower storage, this one you can see these people maybe had a little bit of trouble with it sliding when the person sat down on it. But they decided to zip tie it, which again, zip tie is water friendly, super easy solution, super simple. They zip tied it to the grab bar. So because that grab bar is super well installed, easy, zip tie it right there. They have the storage as a little caddy here on their really wide seat. I always recommend a wider shower seat than you think you'll need, just because it's more adjustable. You can actually move around on it. You don't need to worry about falling off. This person too, this part of the seat actually flips down. So if they need it to be shorter, they can. This is a great example. If you only have a shower stall of what you can do, you can add in a smaller chair that has a longer bench that reaches all the way to the edge and maybe even a little bit beyond that lip. And if they had added a grab bar right above this or right on this other side to help them, they can hold on to while they sit down on it, even better. If you are a person with a tub and you love your tub and you're like, I'm not getting rid of my tub ever, it's my favorite thing, I soak in it every day, good for you. That's great. I'm happy you're happy. Have a grab bar, have grab bars around your tub. I know I'm talking about them for showers, but they make grab bars for tubs. And also if you only have a tub or your tub, you're unable to pull yourself in and out of the tub even with a grab bar, this is a hydraulic lift that is electronic. It plugs into some wiring that's way back over here. And it lifts in and out of the tub. The person is able to sit down on it, transfer into the seat. It lowers them down. They can reach the controls right here for their tub, and then it raises them back up and they're done. Hydraulic lifts are a little bit more expensive, as you can imagine. Any kind of lift is a little bit more expensive. I think this one runs for about $500, but $500 when you're considering whether or not to redo your bathroom, I think it works out. Okay, and I believe this is one of our last slides, and then we'll talk a little bit more about resources and assessments, and then I will show you all of the things that I brought with me today. So stick around. A comfort high toilet is a toilet that is between 17 and 19 inches high. That is the length of most grown adults from their foot, the bottom of their foot, to their knee, the back of their knee. So it's around that range. If you're shorter, that's even better. The higher the toilet is, the easier it is to lower yourself down onto it and get back up. It's more comfortable. This one is a comfort high toilet. I believe it's at 19 inches. This one, you can see this puffy seat here. He has a comfort high toilet. They had it installed 19 inches or 17 inches. I think he thought that would be totally fine because he's a little bit of a shorter guy. He sits in a wheelchair, he transfers himself. Well, they got it, they installed it, and he realized this isn't high enough. I need something a little bit higher. Adaptive seats, ridiculously cheap. You can get them at medical supply stores. You can get them at Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, Amazon, Target. So cheap, way cheaper than installing a brand new toilet. As long as they are able to be flipped up and down, some of them aren't, some of them are stuck to the top of the seat, then they're still pretty easy to clean. I talked about adaptive seats. There's also something called a toilevator. It is named after toilets and elevators. It is a platform that you put underneath your existing toilet. So if you're doing a little bit of research about toilets and their heights, you might come across toilevator. It's a little bit more expensive. It's an option to raise up the height of the toilet. If you're somebody who's really attached to the fixtures in your house, like your toilet, I know some people live in older houses where the toilets match the tiles, and it's a little bit harder to find toilets that are other colors these days. They're almost all just white or off-white, porcelain colored. So if you're somebody that is really, really attached to that, you can try adding in that adaptive seat, but you can also try in adding in a toilevator. This is a really great example of an adaptive seat that is not moved. So this adaptive seat sits, this is a toilet rail that I was talking about earlier, toilet rail. I'm not a huge fan of this because I think there is not enough space to transfer, but this person used a walker, so they just turn right around, back up into this space, and then they can seat themselves with these rails. Having toilet rails, totally fine, totally fine. Again, I just think it's a little bit cleaner to have a pull down grab bar. That way you can fold it away when you're not using it. But this is a great example of one that is not movable. So you'll just want to, like, once a week, completely take off this seat and clean under it and then put it back on. And you can even see the toilet seat here, the traditional toilet seat that they chose not to take off. So this just sits on the toilet bowl rather than sitting on top of the seat. There's something special about this toilet. I don't know if you can even tell. To me, it looks super regular. But what's really great about a lot of these toilets is that they have lots of space. I don't know if you can see what is different about this toilet, but this one has tons of space. 18 inches from the wall is how much space that you need to be able to use these back and side grab bars. And we always want to make sure that our flush is on the open side of the toilet. So if the flush was over here, you'd have to reach across the toilet in order to grab it. If you can see this lovely lever handle has the space empty next to it. So you can either roll up or walk up and use that flush right there. This toilet has a built-in bidet. A bidet is really, really good option if you have arthritis or if you have an aging parent. One of the first things people tend to lose and feel like they've really lost something to their disability or to aging is privacy in the bathroom. Adding in a bidet can extend the length of time that somebody can have that privacy and that autonomy in the bathroom. So if you are living with an aging parent or somebody with a disability that they need help toileting, adding in a bidet is a really good option for giving back that privacy. Bidets are really cheap now. They used to be super luxury, really, really expensive. Now they're extremely cheap. During the great toilet paper shortage of 2020, bidets were going for as cheaply as $45. I actually just checked today on Amazon. They're still extremely affordable and really easy to install yourself. This is a do-it-yourself project. Again, 45 bucks for somebody's autonomy in the bathroom. To me, that's worth it. And then just making sure that you have a toilet paper holder that is super easy to use. So I'm sure we've all lived with somebody at least at one point or another who refuses to put the roll back on the little springy thing just because it's a little bit of an extra step. They have no excuses. Just slide it right on there. I don't care if you want it to go over or under, it's there. And this one's really great too because it's not mounted too far away. Sometimes people have toilet paper holders that are on the opposite side from the toilet, so you have to like reach all the way across to use it. Even if you already have an existing one, this one again is mounted just with some command strips. Toilet paper is not heavy and toilet paper holders aren't heavy. So if you need to add in a second one for just so it's closer to you and easier to use, do it. Okay. Whew. Anybody have any crazy pressing questions about any of the assessments we've just seen? Yes, no, we can have more questions at the end because I'm going to show you some of the things we've just gone through. Yes, okay, great. So let's talk about assessments. Assessments are used to identify and prioritize necessary renovations. So you can either do them with your by yourself with a provided assessment, like one you get off of AARP.org, or you can get one done by an OT, a PT, a contractor, with a family member, or by an organization like Community Partners on Aging or like MAHO. They are all about identifying possible solutions. So if somebody is coming into your home and being like, you need to change that, and you need to change that, and you need to change that, and you need to change that, chances are they're trying to do that from a medical perspective or a safety perspective. If somebody is coming in telling you how much everything is going to cost you and that it's going to be a huge project, typically they're doing that from more of a contractor perspective or a salesman's perspective. So I always recommend going through doing your own if you're able to, just printing off one of the assessments that I can send in. I'll send it in an email to Carolyn yourself first, and then getting some, and then she'll send them to you. And then getting a professional to come in, whether it's somebody like me who does accessibility assessments all the time. I'm never trying to sell you anything. What do you recommend for walk-in bathtubs? I will answer that in just a second. Great question. So whether you want to do one yourself or do one with others, I always recommend that if you are planning on aging in place, whether you think you need renovations or not, or you're sure of what you need or not, ask somebody else for their opinion, because other people can watch you in your space, whereas you're only just watching yourself. So you might not even notice that you're constantly putting your weight on your vanity in your bathroom in order to stand up from the toilet, or that you're constantly grabbing counters as you walk through a space because you're a little bit unsteady. Those are things we tend to do automatically. So having somebody else come in this space and just kind of watch you and go through things with you to think about things with a different perspective is something I always recommend. And again, conduct them with a friend or a family member, just so somebody who knows you well and can advocate for you, especially if you have a contractor come in or a doctor come in. Having somebody else there who knows you really well can be really helpful. MAHO does home assessments. We have home assessments that are free for homeowners in Cuyahoga County and a really, really, really low cost for anybody outside of Cuyahoga County. Usually we've been doing them for free though. So especially if you just are like Mara said, I could get it for free. That's fine. You've got my word for it. I'll vouch for you. Just mention that you're in a workshop with us and I'll get you in there for free. Participants receive up to 2 hours of home accessibility counseling, including a screening phone call, COVID safe in-home visit, a detailed report that you can then give to contractors to explain your needs, or an OT or PT to say what you've already had done. And also recommendations for products and home modifications. We're not salespeople. We're not trying to sell you anything. We will not get any money at all ever from you. We're paid explicitly through a grant through Cuyahoga County. So we are just there to help. It's our passion. And we'll also help you find funding resources. A lot of the times we have, as a nonprofit, we have contacts in other nonprofits and foundations to get you in the door rather than just having you put on another waiting list. If you're gonna shop, make sure that you are reading product reviews. For people who are at last week's webinar, this is gonna be a review for you, but it's always good to just remember the details. If you are gonna be online shopping, watch videos, look at cost comparison, tons of websites like Wirecutter, Consumer Reports, they'll have cost comparison. They'll have cost comparison tools that you can use. They might take longer or be harder to return. Amazon, medical suppliers, and hardware stores are really great, super low cost places to get things. If you're gonna go and to order those online, if you're going to go in retail stores, make sure that you are being super safe. Right now, it might be harder to go through and like touch things like you usually would. but it's a really good place to get an accurate description of what things might cost, especially in your area, without the cost of shipping. They're a lot easier to return. And you can also shop in places that don't necessarily have online stores, like Drug Mart or medical supply stores, or smaller locally owned businesses, which is always good too. Local resources. So I sent out a resource list to everybody who was out last week. I'll send it out again. And I noticed that I think I left off a resource that I included in this slide. So I'll make sure I update that. We have the HELP program, which is through Cuyahoga County. You can find that on their website, or you can call this number. There's also the SHAP program, which is specifically for seniors who are homeowners. There are your local CDCs. Every city you live in, any single city somebody lives in, has a CDC, which is a community development corporation, and almost all of them want your houses, the inside and the out, to be livable and sellable sometime in the future to raise property values. So a lot of time they have a lot of grant money or programs where people will come cut your lawn for you, whether it's Boy Scouts or volunteers. And they also a lot of time have free grab bars or grants towards ramps. Home modification assistance. Rebuilding Together is great. They are a nonprofit organization that has lots of volunteer resources and tools. They also have a really, really awesome website. I would check that out if you have the time. It's just, you just Google Rebuilding Together and it'll be there. Independent living centers. We have 3 in this area. So if you are living on the east side, chances are yours will be SIL. If you're living on the west side, yours will be LEAP. And if you are in just the Cuyahoga County area, the Tri-County Independent Living Center Incorporated are, again, all amazing organizations. I know tons of people who work there personally, and they work their butts off to get people free grab bars, free installation of those grab bars, and donated ramps and other medical supplies like that. Also, WRAA, amazing resources. I can't say enough about community partnership. I didn't include it on my slide, but they are an incredible resource for education, but you all obviously already know that because you're here. And Home Repair Resource Center, again, amazing website, great for cost comparison, great for looking up finding free grab bars, other free medical equipment like that, and free installation. So if you are looking for free grab bars, you're on a budget, these are awesome solutions for you. And that brings us to the end of the presentation, but I have a few things that I want to show you, and I want to answer your walk-in bathtub question. So if you want to call me, if you want to look at our website or our, or if you want to email me, go ahead and email our Anderson Center email, which is anderson@mahohio.org, and I'll get it. I monitor that email address personally. You can also email my personal email, which I can put in the chat. It's my work email, but it's my direct email. Beth Glass, our vice president, also monitors this Anderson Center email. We have maxhousing.org, which has tons of information on it about our apartments. If you're looking, you're low income, you want, or you know somebody who's low income and looking for an accessible apartment in the Northeast Ohio area. And here's our phone number. Again, that is our office line, because we're all working from home still to stay safe from COVID and make sure all of our in-home visits with people are safe. So even if I don't pick up the phone directly, don't be discouraged. I get every single message and I call back within 24 hours. And I would love if you guys joined us for our last session, the last collab between Carolyn and I for right now. But that one's all about new technology. That one will focus entirely on smart devices, home security systems, lighting, tons of really cool stuff. If you've ever been nervous about new technology or incorporating maybe a home, like a home assistant, a Google Assistant, any sort of electronic medical supplies, new technology is going to be a really, really cool. It's a brand new webinar that we're doing, I think, just for the second time. So I really hope you join us. Now I'm going to end the presentation. And if you'd like, if you want to stick around, I will just show you a few of the things that I brought with me. Is that okay? Do we have enough time, Carolyn? Yeah, okay. feel free to go if you want to, but I'm going to answer your bathtub question, and then I'm going to show you some of the stuff that I have. Okay, so your bathtub question is a really great question. The question was, what do you recommend for walk-in bathtubs? The answer is I don't. So there's a reason I didn't include them on the PowerPoint. And that reason is, number one, they're really expensive. They are just as expensive, if not more so, than a replacement like roll-in or walk-in shower, or even just taking the doors off of your step-in shower. And not only that, is that people who use them have to get in without any water in, let the tub fill up. They're going to sit down, close the door, let the tub completely fill up, use the bath, then they have to let it completely drain while they sit there cold and naked. So that's not my preference. It's few people I know's preference. And also, walk-in bathtubs still have a lip. Usually it's over an inch. Usually it's like 2 to 3 inches, sometimes even 4, which is hard to step in. For some people it's easy. Some people love them. Some people swear by them. They're their favorite thing. I just personally don't recommend them. And that's fine. That's just my preference and what I've talked to you about with other people. But other people who love bathtubs, if you are missing your bathtub and that is the thing that you feel like will solve your problem and keep you safe and keep your bathroom accessible, go for it. Don't listen to me. That's totally fine. Any other questions about things we talked about? I'm going to show you a few more things. Yes, good. You guys are great. You're very quiet, but you're great. I've been seeing a lot of like nodding, a lot of like shaking of heads. I'm really appreciative of the feedback, so that's good. Okay, so let's talk about one more time. Whoops. I'm going to show you. I echo the comment about walk-in tubs, showers, and cutaways are much easier. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, this is our swing clear hinges. We have our fake little door here. This is the door jamb. So if you're opening a door, it'll actually look more like this. You're opening the door, opening it all the way. So if you couldn't quite picture from the picture, this is in real time how it looks. So it goes from just having this door jamb space, having to navigate through this door jamb space, to having the entire door frame. I really recommend these. Again, you want to get the commercial ones, not the residential ones. They're trying to upcharge you for a way worse product with the residential ones. And I'm here to save you guys some money. Here is one of my favorite things. This is a regular grab bar. Again, 25 bucks. Don't let people overcharge you for a grab bar. As long as it's rated for the correct amount of weight, you're golden. And from a reputable company too as well. This is a removable grab bar cover. So if you have a slippery grab bar, if maybe your grip, you have a hard time gripping on because they get slippery when they're wet, this is a, it feels a little bit like, maybe kind of like a soft sandpaper is what I can explain it. It's a little bit sticky to hold on to, but it's great to give you a little bit of grip. This was $5 to completely transform your grab bar holder or your grab bar. Again, if you're not interested in seeing these products, that's totally fine. I won't be offended if you leave. These are 2 more residential models of lever handles. This one is for the outside of your home or the outside of maybe like a garage or a shed. You can see it has the regular key there. It also has this keypad here. There are also options that have a fob key. So the fob, you just tap it to it and open it up. This one's really great. It swings up and down. And this is my favorite ever handle ever in the whole world. And I've used a ton of them. I literally research them for my job all day, every day. And there's never been a better one. This is called the push, pull, rotate handle. And I bet you can guess why. Because it pushes, you can pull it and rotate it in order to use it any way that you want. It's about 20 bucks last time I checked, maybe even 18. I believe it's by Brinks. And you can find them anywhere. They come in tons of different styles, tons of different finishes, and I just think they're the coolest invention ever. Who reinvents the doorknob? That's crazy. Am I wrong? Have you ever thought that a doorknob could open like this? That's crazy. I really am a nerd for accessibility. And then here are just a couple more styles of those D-shaped handles. This one doesn't have that return on the end, that little part that sticks out here. So this one I can open with my closed fist. This one I can't, but I can just stick one finger behind it, especially if I soft close or a soft open drawer. Thank you, Rebecca, for coming. Bye. You can just stick a finger behind that. Again, I love these ones too. Super secure. You can pull. You don't have to worry about your hand slipping out of it. Same with this one. And then this again is, I didn't even realize that I had one with me today, but I do. This is, and this has been stuck on here for more than a year and it has not come off. It's very much stuck on there. I had to shake it and it's not going anywhere. So this is just a super inexpensive magnetic strip that you can have your knives on, or your knives, your eyeglasses, your nail cutters, anything small, light, and metal. And then last thing I promise, these are the tap-on lights that I was talking about. You can use a command strip or anything really. Some of them have, you've seen these, just tap-on lights. They come 3 for $10 on Amazon or Target. These ones are battery operated, but we also have versions that are remote operated that plug directly into the wall. If you don't already have task lighting underneath your cabinetry above your countertop, I really recommend it. If you don't have task lighting above a light switch, above wherever you read or you sew, these super lightweight, super inexpensive, could save you from falling, could save you from cutting yourself while you're cooking. Invest in a 3-pack of these and stick them wherever you need them. And that's the presentation for today. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you had a little bit of fun, as much fun as I did. I had a great time. So thank you so much for having me today, Carolyn and everybody. Yay. So anybody have any follow-up questions? I can stick around for a couple minutes. Thank you, Helen. I'm so glad that you mean something. I am absolutely an accessibility fiend. Have a great one.
Bye, everyone. See you next week.
Bye. Thank you so much.